Welcome to Genred Off Book. I'm your host, Katy.
And I'm Elise.
And today we're going to be talking with Nic DiDomizio, our friend, author. Nic, please introduce yourself.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thank y'all for having me. So I'm an author. I have a new book coming out in April of this year called A Murder Most Camp. My previous books include Burn It All Down. Oh my God, I love it. The arc is and The Gay Best Friend and Nearly Wed. But A Murder Most Camp is kind of a little bit of a pivot moment, a murder mystery, but really a comedy with a murder in it. It's more how I would describe it. And I'm just so excited to be here and talk about books. This is actually my first thing that I'm doing promo wise for A Murder Most Camp. So this is the kickoff of my promo season.
My gosh, we are honored.
Honored.
Yeah.
Truly honored.
Let's have a full Oprah moment to kick it off, I think.
Yeah.
That'll bode well for like the life of the book.
I finished your book 45 minutes ago.
Oh my God.
And so
It's fresh.
I am
fresh.
I am so hot off A Murder Most Camp. Like I am still at Camp Lore. I'm still at summer camp. I am still with Mikey. Like so Elise will tell you, Elise got your arc first from our friend Dina and read it. And then every single time I would see my sister, she would forget to give it to me. And I was like, when you have to deal with like an actual physical book, you have to have that physical book in your hands in order to read it.
Yeah.
And
Very
Elise
true.
just gave it to me, on Sunday, maybe?
Yeah, I did. I gave it to you on Sunday because we were recording and I was like, I remembered.
Oh, so you had like a whirlwind reading experience.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. How it's meant to
And-
be, you know?
Yeah. Well, also, I read it. Dina got it to me, I think like around Christmas time. And then I had to go on a work trip. So I went to Copenhagen and I read it in one sitting, just the flight over to Copenhagen, read it front to back. I took notes because I didn't want to write in it. But as soon as I started reading it, I was like, we must talk to Nic. So then I just started taking notes as we were doing it and just so I would have it.
Oh, I love this.
We both loved it. I'm not even gonna pull punches. It was so funny. It was like a warm hug of a book.
Yes.
Too.
Yes.
Like it was just
Oh
like
my
it was a hilarious, cozy murder mystery and with a cast of characters that I'm still thinking about. It was so good. It was so good.
I'm just like internally like, thank God you guys liked it, because that would have been super awkward if Dina was like, hey, my friend wrote a book and then it just kind of like she
It
never
didn't-
heard
it
back
didn't
from
land.
you guys. Yeah.
Oh my God, no. You know, we read a bunch of different genres on this podcast, and I feel
Right.
like I've been trying to find a cozy mystery, and things that have been marketed to me as a cozy mystery have not been cozy, or they haven't really been mysteries. Like this is, like Elise said, a warm hug, but it is also truly a mystery, like one that I
Yeah.
was so invested in. And I mean, obviously I read it in like less than 48 hours. It was, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. And it's very hard to read a physical book. I must say that when you're
Yeah.
on the train or you're going to
Doing-
work
yeah.
or things like that. So I literally brought it everywhere with me for the past 2 days.
Oh God, I hope every interview that I do for this book is with people who A, read the book, but B, also like enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much. It is honestly, like, especially with this one in particular, it was a little bit of a challenging process writing it, because it was, not to just dive right into like a personal
Yeah.
story, but
Yeah, let us.
so like with my my first 3 books came out in like 2021, 22, 23. And after I got my first book deal for the first book, I was like, COVID was happening and there was a lot going on. So I ended up like going full-time authoring. And so for my second and third books, I had so much space and freedom to like really commit to the writing process and, you know, have a whole creative moment. Um, and then I wrote like a few other books that my agent wasn't able to sell. And it got to the point that I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna need to like go back to work. So then the deal for a Murder Most Camp came within the same month as I like got recruited by the company that I work for now. So,
Oh my
but it
God.
was like but I hadn't written the book yet. It was like they bought it based on like the first 3 chapters. So I was like, okay, so I'm diving back into the workforce for the first time in 4 years, and I have to write this book by April 1st. This was last year.
Oh my
Oh
God.
And it was like January. So I was like dying last year at this time. I mean, I'm dying this year at this time because I'm on deadline for next year's book. But it was such a, it was like 5 a.m. wake ups, drafting after work, no social life on the weekends, like just
Yeah.
grinding so hard. And like that first draft that I turned in April of last year was so bad. And
okay.
I literally was like in therapy saying like, I can't believe I got myself into this. Like I'm overextended. I'm like turning in work that I hate. And thank God like for my editor because we like rolled up our sleeves and we were like, all right, let's take this first draft and turn it into something that like captures the spirit. I mean, like a lot of the comedy was there, but like
Yeah.
character and other things were totally missing. And so like throughout the summer, I like shaped it into what it is now. And to hear that like 2 humans read it and loved it makes
Yeah.
it feel like, oh, thank God, I can
A
I can
Yes.
hundred.
exhale.
Wait, my only question is the next book like in the
It
Murder Most
is.
Camp world?
It's not in the world. So I
Okay.
know because it's very interesting because the trade reviews that came out so far, like Publishers Weekly and Kirkus have both said, uh, it seems like there will be a sequel and we look forward to it. And but like there is not, I mean, maybe one day, but no, the new book is a totally different thing. But it does take place upstate,
I
Okay.
love that.
but uh like the concept is it's a crazy. I can't wait to start talking about it. I'll have to come back next year because
Yes,
Yes,
you'll have
please
to.
do.
You must.
that one is going to be so fun to talk about.
This would make like such a good TV show, like a series.
Uh,
It reminds me of I don't know. I just think the juxtaposition of a man almost in his 30s and a bunch of 12-year-olds at summer camp is
yes.
like the greatest band of misfits I've ever read about.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Like,
It was tough to write the kids because I have never written children before, and I don't think I will again because I was like, wow, this is like actually. I mean, like I loved going into it. I was like, this is such a great concept. I just have to see, you know, how I do it and like how it works. And I was thinking I would use like my niece and nephew as kind of an inspiration,
oh
but
yeah.
they're so young that then I started to think back to like when I was 12 and I was like, oh, so I kind of more so fashioned them out of like, cause like my niece and nephew are like 6 and 8. So like
Oh,
if I had like
little.
really drawn inspiration from them, it would have been, but, but yeah, it's kind of hard because it's like in the beginning, I was constantly having to be like, oh, don't make them sound too intelligent or don't make them say anything too like worldly or whatever. And then I was like
Yeah.
so hung up on like don't have them sound like adults. But then at a certain point in the process, I was able to be like to stop thinking about their age and just think about them as like little people who
Yeah.
are. I mean, 12-year-olds are people, and they
They're
are
little
tend
people
to be
too.
Yeah.
exactly. And I think Annabelle was the one who like once I had her down, I was like, okay, I can kind of make
Yeah.
the other ones like foils to her in a way.
Yeah.
God,
And
I love
she's so
Annabelle.
great. And I'm sure
Mm,
that's what the trade reviews are catching up because I was like, Annabelle, she could have a book.
Oh yeah, she could have
Like that
mm,
her
could
whole
be like she
series.
could have her own series. Like this could be the kickoff, and then it just these merry bands of misfits just solving murders until they're in an old folks' home. You just like ride them throughout their lives.
Love that. I might have to like write that down and pitch it to my editor.
Yeah, take him.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just for
The whole SAG group, you know?
yeah.
yes, an Annabelle book. I mean, yeah, I wish I wanted to like have more of her too in the actual book, but there's so much going on between the kids and the romance and the murder and the bleh. um but
It's
yeah,
perfect.
Annabelle.
It was a perfect blend.
It
That's
really
why I
was.
like, and I think, like, I love thrillers, I love mysteries. I'm honestly not so much a romance reader, but this romance was so adorable, and I love the way that it kind of just intertwined itself within the story and in the world. Um, it
Oh,
was
I loved it. And it's so funny that you mentioned that because like I and this is so relevant to the theme of this podcast genre. Like my last two books were marketed very much as like romances. Um,
Mhm.
because that was just kind of, I mean, there's a whole story we might get into later once we're on the topic, but neither one really was a romance. It was just kind of like when my agent was shopping the first one, it was like the the most viable offer we had on the table was like an editor who said, maybe change like the messed up hookup situationship into like a happy ending, and then we can like market this to romance readers because romance is having a
Oh.
moment, and like that whole thing. And it
Mhm.
really like reflected in the response to that book in particular, where like there's if I had like a dollar for everyone who was like, this isn't a romance, this isn't a romance.
Uh,
And then the second one I tried to be more like, the second one was more of a meta book about romance. So
mm.
anyway, all of which is to say that like this murder mystery is probably the most closer to romance than than the two romances that I've written. Like I was very much going into it. I was like, I'm just gonna throw in a little romance. I'm gonna hit all the romance beats, and that
Mhm.
I
just in
loved
time to
it.
It
like.
really worked.
Thank you so much.
I feel like I'm still on this high. I'm sorry. I literally finished it less than an hour ago.
Ah, I love that.
I mean, maybe we can talk about it more once we go into the questions, but I also have so many questions about what it's like being an author because
I
I know a
know.
little bit about it, but like to be traditionally published, it requires so many things to go exactly right. And then so
Ugh.
many things to just work out in that moment to getting an agent to shopping the book around and then maybe, the offer you get, like you said, it means like it's perfect in every way, only change all of it. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay. You must be just like learning from that.
Yeah, and I could go on for hours. I'll try to be as um brief as possible, but yeah, that's like the huge thing about, I think, what people don't prepare you for like when you're starting out is like just how random the whole process is. So many, like most things aside from writing the book, everything else is out of your control, and you just have to like be this person who like weathers whatever hand is thrown at you. It's very similar to like sitting down at a
Yeah.
blackjack table and sliding your chips forward, but your chips are the hours and years that you've spent on whatever book it is that you're trying to get published. And then you just got to hope the cards come out right. For me, it was 8 years before I got an agent, and then like 3 years before she sold a book. And
Wow.
then like
So
after,
crazy.
that was the whole thing. And then once I like was in the market, the challenge became like selling a book after the first book didn't sell well,
Mhm.
because like once you have a sales track at a certain point, the quality or the content of the book doesn't even factor nearly as much as you would think it does. It just becomes a P&L decision,
Yeah.
which,
Yeah.
it's a hard thing because
Yeah.
I'm like, we all have day jobs, and I think before I was published, I always viewed my writing as a respite from that, and kind of
Mhm.
like this
Yeah.
is where I go to not think about a P&L or whatever. And then
Yeah.
once you start publishing, it's, "Oh, this is a fucking business too, Jesus." But, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
business that at
Yeah.
least is centered around people who love books the way we do, and so you have to just hope that enough of those
Mhm.
people cross your path and champion your work and everything else.
Mm.
But yeah, publishing, man,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
biz.
It's a biz for sure.
Mm.
They All right, maybe we can start going into some of our questions. I guess before we start, we always say like what like got you into reading? Like what sort of reader are you? Like when did you start? What can you tell us about books from as far back as you can remember?
I love this. So it really, for me, as a like small child, this is probably the thing everybody says, but it was Goosebumps.
Yeah.
R.L. Stein, he was just cranking them out. And I remember,
Cranking them out.
and do you remember? So I remember like Goosebumps was the first thing where it was like, I have to turn the page because I have to know if
Yeah.
this possessed puppet is going to kill the kid or whatever it was. And
Yeah.
so I fell in love with the books. And then at around that same time in the 90s, they came out with a Goosebumps TV show. And episode was an adaptation of one of the books.
Yep.
And
Oh,
as a
yeah.
child, I was like, shut up. I read the book and now I'm
Oh,
seeing it. It was mind blowing. So that was a very early thing. And then I, of course, started imitating R.L. Stein and writing my own little books on loose notebook paper and then stapling it together and, giving it to people, to my grandma
Yeah.
who didn't even speak English. She's like, oh, it's great. Um, and then, I would say like middle school, I got sucked into a friend group that was more sports and, you know, it was very not cool to read, and I was obsessed with
oh,
fitting in. I know, I literally, this is like turning into a therapy moment, but so I literally abandoned my love of most things in order to be cool in middle school. And then it wasn't
M
until I know,
Middle
crazy, but
school
I
is
know.
such a tragic time.
It's such a tragic time. That's all I could think of too. It's like truly like middle school is just it's a thought experiment, I'm pretty
I
sure. They're
know.
just like, quick, get all the ones with the hormones, just stick them together. They can just be
yes,
terrible together for like 2 to 3 years, and then we'll let them out and hope that they didn't do irreparable harm to each
I
other.
know.
I was like, this can't be
literally.
right.
That's it sums it up exactly. And that's, what? That's why I love Annabelle because she refuses to like conform. She's like, "Screw
Yeah, she
you!
does.
I'm gonna read my books." Um,
I
Yep.
love her.
but I really honestly didn't fall back in love with reading until college, and then it was like the floodgates opened, and I was obsessed with David Sedaris was an early one.
Yep.
Mhm.
Chelsea Handler, do we remember her? I actually pulled, like
Mhm.
I have a bunch of, like, my all-time faves over here so that I can, because
Ooh.
Ooh.
I saw Dina's episode, and I saw she kept pulling them out. I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, taking
She just
notes."
kept pulling them out.
Yeah,
My
but,
god. She had, like, a
mm
stack.
yeah. My Horizontal Life, I don't know if you guys read that one. It
Oh,
was,
yep.
like, just pure fun and ridiculousness. There was a book called Bitch is the New Black. I don't know if you've heard of this one. It was
No.
No.
it wasn't really a big bestseller, but I would say this
Well.
was like David and Chelsea and like a lot of the other like funny essayists that were
Mhm.
out at the time, like I read them and was entertained and that was it. Then when I read this, I was like, shut up because it's about so Helena Andrews, she's a amazing journalist and this book was published when she was like 29 and
Mm.
it's all
Wow.
essays from like her life and her upbringing and her early
Okay.
career as a journalist in her 20s and college and all these things and it's so it's so funny number one like she's hilarious and it was like relatable. I was like, oh, I could totally do this. And that was when the addiction to writing started because I realized I didn't have to be living in France or wherever David Sedaris was living, even though he wrote a lot about his 20s too. But something about her voice really connected with me. So then it
Mhm.
was like a free for all. And then I didn't really get back into fiction though until like my mid 20s. So a lot of my formative books and the first book that I wrote was a memoir at the age of 24.
Okay.
Um, because
Huge life experience there,
so
right?
much,
You have
yeah,
things to say.
so much to say. And yeah, I was pretty late to fiction. And then once I started with fiction, like the books that really got me hooked were all over the map. Like The Art of Fielding, when that came out. Did you read that one? It's in my stack. Um, by Chad
Oh,
Harbach. It's a baseball campus novel. And I mean, it's a little intense. It's very multi POV literary epic kind of thing about
Okay.
this baseball player who gets the yips and like the
Okay.
psychology
what's the
around that.
yips?
It's when anybody in sports just stops being able to play their sport.
Wait, what did the twirlies?
That's the swirlies. Like the swirlies that like Simone Biles got and so couldn't do it is if she was a base
Yeah,
yeah, if she was a baseball player, it would have been called the yips. So it's like where
Oh,
you it's a psychological thing that
like
happens and all of a sudden you're the best of the game, but you can't play it anymore. Like you
oh,
just can't do it.
it's
crazy.
very much a reaction to success or impending success. And like, so the book
Yeah.
explores all of these big ideas about ambition and that kind of thing. So that was an early novel that I read. And at that point I was still writing my silly little memoir stuff. So for a while I was like, okay, fiction is this other thing that I can't do because that book was so good. I was intimidated by it.
Yeah.
But then eventually the fiction that really got me going was more in the darker thriller space. Like all
Mhm.
three Gillian Flynn books when those came
Oh,
out,
yeah.
Sharp Objects, Dark
My favorite.
Places. Oh my
Oh,
god. And then of course Gone Girl is like
dark.
a masterpiece.
Oh,
But
so that's why Annabelle loves those books.
oh yeah. Yes, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Annabelle's, like, reading tastes are, like, she's my proxy. But what else was fiction that I really loved? When I read Candace Bushnell, did you ever read the,
Yeah.
Sex and the City? Obsessed.
I Did you
Like,
read the
Did I?
original Sex and the City? I
I
read a bunch of her
I've
essays, right? They were like a book of her columns. Am I
they
remembering
were
that correctly, or am I getting her confused with somebody else?
it was a collection of
I'm
the
trying to remember.
columns
Yeah.
yeah.
that originally ran in some newspaper, but I guess, like, the columns were fictional, but
I
not I don't know, like, inspired by her, but fictionalized.
I think like the names were changed to
to
protect the
protect the
innocent,
innocent.
to
Right, right,
protect uh, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, who
right.
she really
Oh my god.
reamed on. So,
Yeah, really had something against her.
and
Wait, in the book? I how do I not do I need to
I don't
give
know.
this a
It might not have
reread?
been. It might not have been in the book. I'm trying to remember because of like Carolyn Bessette Kennedy's back in the news. Is all of
Right.
these Bushnell articles being just
Okay.
like
Yeah.
just
Oh.
absolutely reaming on her, telling about all the coke that she's doing and like all
Oh
of
my
this and
god.
all of that, and you're
See?
just like, wow, wow, wow.
God, I wanna go back to New York in the '90s.
I
Like,
know.
I don't, but I kinda do, just to, like, be,
I would
like,
love
in
to
this
be there for
scene.
just like 6 months. Yeah, just
Yes.
like 6 months, no phone, just
Yes.
running around the city, just having to know where you're going because there's no GPS. There's no way for you
Mhm.
to be caught doing anything,
Well, because it's like
basically.
we were kind of kids in the 90s. Like, I want to be 20, I want to be 23 or 24 in like 1994.
Yes, and then
And
go
like, what,
into
like,
yeah.
yes.
Same. Yeah, they just had, like, I don't know, because New York changed too so much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
obviously, like, our phones and all of that, and to imagine being mentioned in a Candace column, and then it's like
Yeah.
that's
Like, that was like the gossip rag. Like, people write
yeah,
about people online now or Dumois or something like that. And it's like, no, you're waiting to see if your name came up in page 6.
right.
And could you imagine if you were at Tunnel and then all of a sudden
Mm,
somebody is writing about you? My
right.
dream.
Or, like, going to, like, one of those Calvin Klein parties that that
Oh,
are
yeah.
showing in the show, and it's just like
Yeah.
different world.
Yeah.
It was just pools. It
Yeah.
was just for a book that but just about pools. I was just like, "This
Kelly
is
Klein.
insane."
I know.
I ended up on Kelly's Instagram yesterday 'cause I was between meetings at work, and I I actually don't know. I don't think "ended up" is the right word because I specifically searched for it. Because I thought about the pools party, and I was like, "I wonder if she's, like, still hopping around," and she's fully on Instagram, she's, like, reacting to the show. Um,
Ooh, I
Oh.
have to go and look
yeah,
at it then.
Oh, I
yes.
have to look at that.
She comes off pretty good. I mean, a bit of
Yeah.
a possible future
Yeah,
for
I kind
Karen,
of right,
Yeah.
she's, like, the foreshadowing. I
yeah.
also kinda love Calvin, even though, like, he's not
Yeah.
meant to be this, like, amazing character that you're supposed to love, but every time he's in a scene, I'm glued.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So
I know, and he's playing an incredibly powerful, creative, but incredibly insecure man
Yeah.
really
yes.
well. It feels like they're doing that, like, and you're just like, you get that this guy has everything,
Mhm.
but also nothing, and we're not sure why he has nothing, but we know he doesn't have it.
Right.
Like, we know
Yes.
Yeah.
he's looking for something.
He is threatened by, like, his ingenue, but he, like,
Yeah.
wants
Yep.
credit for it, like, the just
Yeah,
love
just like the thank you.
mm,
I discovered Kate Moss. Sure, not according to Ryan Murphy's love story. Let me
Yeah.
tell you that right now, Calvin.
Somebody asked Kate, honestly.
I know.
right. I need Kate's
Oh my
reaction to
gosh.
this show. This is
Yeah,
gonna turn
I
into
know.
a, love story, recap
It's
podcast, and
okay.
I know.
I'm okay
We
with that.
haven't been able to stop talking about it. And honestly, this is coming out this week, so it's timely. It'll be fine. So what is it that you reach for now? What genre do you find yourself reaching for now when you want to read?
You know, I'm all over the place, and I
Oh.
was trying to think about, okay, if I had to commit to one, like, what would I choose? I don't know if I so, like, the book I'm reading 2 books right now. One is a nonfiction book called One Bad Mother, which is about, like, the trope of the bad mom throughout history.
Okay. Oh,
A
interesting.
brilliant, brilliant author, E.J. Dixon. She used to be my editor back when I worked as an online staff writer, so personal connection, but reading it because she has such a great voice. It's very much like a blend of cultural reporting with a gazillion sources cited, but also just really hilarious one liners from her about her own life.
Yeah.
So that's really fun. And then the other book I'm reading is a Lisa Jewell thriller. So
Okay.
Oh.
like still a mix of like a really dark thriller or a really funny nonfiction are like my
Oh,
two
Okay.
modes. So yeah, I know I cheated because I said 2.
that's okay. I was gonna say, honestly, I'm like, interesting that we have someone that's not like, it's this. Usually people are like, no, I love romance or I love this or I love that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate
You
that you're like,
know,
no, it's not an option.
I love a good beach read. I feel like if you asked me this
Hmm.
2 to 3 years ago, my answer would have been beach read all the way, an Ellen Hilderbrand special, or my last 2 books were very much marketed as beachy, like, they had beach covers and they were set on the beach, and so that is a genre that I do love, but it's, like, so literal for me, like, it has to be summer and I have to be
Yeah.
on the beach.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I feel like my thing is very, um I didn't even know what a genre was until, like, embarrassingly late. Like, I always knew like, I would go into a bookstore in my 20s and I would just be like, "Okay, there's the biography section," which I'm always gonna be checking out because that's where, like, all the memoirs are. There's the humor section, which is gonna have the David Sedaris collections and the Chelsea
Hmm.
Handlers, so I'm only gonna give that a pop. And then there's a broad, like, fiction section, which I would occasionally go to, and then once I started reading more fiction, I honestly most of my discovery was in bookstores, and it was just perusing the section shelves, and romance and the mystery section, for some reason, didn't even clock in my mind that those were
Mm,
also novels. Like,
yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I thought they were. Like, um, so it and my ignorance to, like, all of it, like, persisted even up until when I got my first book deal, and I think part of the reason why it took me so long too was that I never wrote with an understanding of genre, so I would just kind
Hmm.
of
Oh.
settle on a story and be like, this is the voice. And it was, of course, always like a somewhat comical, over the top at times, a voice, and then whatever the story was. And so with my first book, it was a story about this 36-year-old woman and her 18-year-old son, and she was a single mom, and they were living in New Jersey, like super broke, and their boyfriends cheated on them, and they went on a crime spree unintentionally at first.
Yeah.
um, and then they end up burning a house down, and they have to go on the run from the police, and it's like this whole thing. But it's like, and in this ridiculously over the top tone, but it's got a lot of action. But it's also, the main character is 18, and then his mom is in her 30s. And so when my agent was trying to sell it, it was, the reactions were all over the place, and people were like, what is this? Where would this
Yeah.
even be on the shelf? It
Mm.
kind of
Mhm.
feels YA. It kind of feels like a comedy. It kind of feels like a thriller. And we ended up like with a publisher who was willing to be a little risky with it. And they were like, yeah, this doesn't fit any genre. But my editor was like so obsessed with it that he like tried his hardest and he got us literally a cover blurb from James Patterson, like
Oh
the
my God, I
James
know.
Ooh.
Patterson. And he was like, we don't care that there's no clear audience, like we're gonna make an audience. And then he was fired like before the book came out.
Oh no.
And yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
No.
it was a disaster. And then like the editor that I got in, like, who took it over, was just couldn't give a shit about the book or me. And so that
no.
was a really negative experience. And then when the book came out, it was just very much, nobody knew what it was. It was, some people were calling it a thriller, other people were calling it a rom-com, because there was also a little bit of a romance happy ending there.
Yeah.
It was an adult book, but some people were calling it YA. Like there was just, nobody knew what it was. So that was like my first taste of like, okay, so genre is a hugely important thing when it comes to the creation of a book. But you would think I would
Yeah.
have learned that and then been more conscious going into the next one, but but then the next one I wrote was The Gay Best Friend, and again, straddled like many different lines, and it was very complicated and like didn't have a happy ending. But the editor who bought it convinced me to write a vaguely happy ending, because in the
Yeah.
romance community, as you probably know, it's got to have a happy ending.
It's an Yeah, it's a non-negotiable. If there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah,
happy ending,
It's
it's
not a
not a
right.
romance.
romance. It's not a
Yeah.
romance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
learned that like as I was going. So I like slowly learned like, okay, there are genres. Like even when I was reading like Gillian Flynn, like I knew they were like dark books, but I didn't know that they were thrillers and they were specifically marketed to thriller audiences, or like when I read The Art of Fielding for the first time, or even like, God, there were so many books in my 20s that were just all over the map. I was really into James Baldwin, of course, as like,
Mhm.
which is more like literary from ages ago. And Joan Didion was a huge one for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her nonfiction and her fiction, Play It As It Lays. I don't know if y'all have read that, but
I did. I've read it years ago.
it's short too. So it's like a quick read. But anyway, so like yeah, like I was all over the map. Oh, and then another book that I really loved back then was Something Borrowed by Emily Giffin. The
Oh my
which
God.
Yes, I
Even I
remember
read
became a
that.
those.
yeah, it became a Kate Hudson movie.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, was like at the time like chick lit, or now it would probably just be called a
Yeah.
Mhm.
rom-com.
Yeah.
So I had no idea that like these books were all living inside like the world of a genre. Um
But, like, when you're
oh,
talking about the business of books, which we said earlier,
right.
it's important to the business
Oh,
of books,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Or, I mean, for good or
very.
for bad. It depends on the way that you look at it, but if you're trying to sell a book, definitely
It's
is
like
a,
a necessary, yeah. And I think it is for the readers. Like it's very like there's so much out there, even with this system of genres that we have. Like there's still an impossible number of books to keep track of. there needs to be some type of framework to be able to
Yeah.
set at least a little bit of expectation about what, what you're getting into depending on what you pick up. But then again, I don't know, because I when I look back at my reading life, I feel like part of the joy of it has been I usually go into I mean, nowadays, I'm very aware of genre and everything, so I kind of it's almost like maybe I'm making an argument that it's bad because I'm like,
Yeah.
it
I
I
think
'cause I'm like, there are some books that I would dismiss just based on, like, the marketing of it and, like, "Oh, that's probably not for me,"
Yeah.
versus others where I'm like, "Oh, that could be for me." Whereas, like, back in the day, like, when I was bumping from going from Gillian to Joan Didion to Emily Giffin to Chad
Yeah.
Harmon, just, like, each one, I didn't know what I was getting into, I just kinda stumbled upon it, and there's, like, a fun in that too, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, they're yeah, I don't know. It's complicated, I guess.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like sometimes I'm really a bit of a stickler and I'm like, "No, I only read this genre and I'm not gonna read outside of it," and obviously because of this podcast, I've read so many other things, and I definitely think I'm learning that there's certain elements in books that I like, but I could say that I'm opening my eyes
Mhm.
to other genres that I would not have considered before.
Yeah. And I would say, yeah, with this podcast, one of the reasons I've said it 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 more is that I, much like you, were used to until after grad school, like read pretty widely, no matter what it was. But then starting in grad school, I was reading so much heavy, like, philosophy and stuff like that and rhetorical text that, like, when I would come home and I
Ooh.
wanted to read to unwind, I was like, "I can't. It's gotta be Twilight on loop," like,
Yeah.
which is truly what I did. I was writing my thesis, and I just read Twilight, book 1 to book 4, and then I just started over again. Like, it just got to the point where, like, my brain couldn't handle it, and then from that point on, I, like, sort of stopped reading so widely. So I very much like fantasy, but I was reading the precursor to romantasy. Now, I was reading just,
Yeah.
like, straight
Oh.
contemporary romance books, and then yeah, I stopped reading, like, the big, complicated fantasy worlds. I couldn't do that anymore. I could only read something with, like, a real heavy romance A plot and then something else. And then I found Omegaverse, which is one of the most specific subgenres of romance, but I loved it so much and I couldn't stop reading it. Like it was like an addiction. And that's why we started this podcast.
So this is kind of something that's great about so that's like a good argument for genre though, I feel, because it's like you discover something and then it's like you don't have to just let it go after like your one like book
Yeah.
of it
Yeah.
because you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now there's a whole other world I can like go into and try to recapture like that initial high that I got. Because a lot of like I feel like I've had the issue where it's like I'll have that book hangover, and then it's like, shit, I
Yeah.
don't know what to read next because what's gonna scratch that itch? So
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah.
of a good
I've
thing.
been Yeah, like, and I was telling Elise, literally, I said this, what, an hour ago, that I keep trying to find these cozy books because I'm like, okay, there's only so much like romantasy and fantasy and fucking werewolves that I can read about before I'm like, I just want something that's gonna make me kick my little feet. And
Right.
I'm not really interested in romance being the only thing that people are talking about. And just because 'cause I'm like, "Meh, it's just boring. I want something else. I want some sort of mystery." And each time that I'm picking the book up for the podcast, I've been trying to pick a cozy mystery, and I haven't yet been satisfied.
Yeah.
Mm.
She's been tricked. She's been tricked by the genre, I would say.
I've been tricked until now.
Okay, so my confession is that I'm entering this cozy mystery space with very little understanding of what is going on there. I know that those types of books, because when I got the deal, the publisher, of course, had like all these comps of like cozy mysteries that had done really well. Um,
Mhm.
and now I'm trying to think of them, like the Richard Osman books, which I hear are really good. The Thursday
Yeah.
Murder
I
Club
was gonna
is
s
that?
I
Yep,
was gonna
yep,
Um,
say it gave Thursday Murder Club vibes without at all yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like children in a camp, and these are old people in a
right.
nursing home, but the group murder solving
So
really sort
yeah,
of was similar.
I have to read that. I have to, like, read that I have to read the genre that I'm entering into, and maybe I shouldn't be admitting it publicly that I that I haven't.
Wait,
But
that really makes me
um
laugh because 'cause I'm like, "Damn, did you nail it? You
Yeah,
nailed
oh
you
it."
my
did nailed
god.
it. You nailed it.
Well, you know what's I actually I feel like my, like, background going into it might have been because it was basically I had my little experience in the romance world or romance adjacent with my last 2 books, and within the 4 years that I was a full-time author, I wrote 3, like, really, really intense dark thrillers that have yet
Oh.
to see the light of day. Dina has read one of them. She might have actually read 2, but and, like, they got so one of them, like, was literally, like, going to acquisitions multiple times at different publishers, like, and that's basically when they decide if they like, the editor wants to buy it, but they have to convince, like, the sales team and all that, and
Yeah.
I couldn't get a deal for them because my sales track was bad and, whatever and all that stuff. So the book that I wrote right before camp was like this really fucked up, um, like thriller with like very little comedy. There was no, there's like some satire in it, but like not anything
Mhm.
fun or funny. And so I think like coming off of writing 3 thrillers, also having like the background of writing comedy in all my other books, I was like, okay, I know like to do like a murder plot. Now I just have to make it a comedy. And so, so that was kind of how I approached it, which I'm sure is how
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
cozy genre was born whenever it was born anyway.
Yeah.
So so I got there like without actually being in the cozy world.
Yeah.
But Lord
yeah.
knows I've
I
read all the murder books and all the comedy books.
laughed out loud. Yeah, I laughed out loud several times
I
throughout this book,
know.
and I was on a plane, and I just like I had one of those like ah, like it was, and I was like
Oh,
ah, and I was like sorry guys,
ah,
to get it together. It was so funny, and the first thing Katie told me was that she was just kicking her little feet when I
I was
called her right
kicking my
before
feet.
this, and she's like I was just
ah,
kicking my little feet. She was having so much fun. It's just
I
like a
love
it really is like again, you nailed it. Maybe
ah.
that's
Yeah,
how it
man.
happens when you're not trying to hit a genre. That's when you hit it.
Yeah, maybe it was helpful that I didn't know what else was out there because it just let me like not feel like I had to live up to whatever like the
Yeah.
conventions
Yeah.
are.
Mhm.
I don't know if it felt like personal, but also very very us. I don't know. People I feel like our age, people that grew up in the 90s, like movies that we could all relate to and remember, I think is why I laughed out loud at some of these parts. Like when I think about Coyote Ugly and everyone
Ah.
in their 30s, in their early 40s has thought about Coyote Ugly in such a way
Mm.
that some of those references made me laugh. I was like, "Oh my god, I haven't thought about this in years." It was great.
Violet Sanford is she modeled, I mean, especially as like we were all people who moved to New York. I lived in New York City for
Yep.
10 years and I feel a big part of it was like Carrie Bradshaw and Violet Sanford.
Yeah. Yep. It's like we are all chasing that Coyote
Right.
Ugly dream. But also
Mhm.
I felt touched because we obviously live on the Upper West Side and there was
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of callbacks to the Upper West
Yeah.
Side. It
Mhm.
was nice.
Mikey.
Nice
You know,
touch. Mikey, my
it was, and I think he was the biggest challenge was like, how am I gonna? Because like my other books have all been so deeply autobiographical in not so deeply, but very much inspired by real events. Not that I ever burned down a house with my
Mhm.
mom or, some of the other things. But Mikey was the first one where I'm like, I cannot relate at all to someone from this billionaire family and, has a
Yeah, hell
trust
yeah.
in all of
Yeah.
these things. And I'm like, how am I going to find any way to connect with him? But he was another one where it was like I got there like by the second or third draft. But in the first
Mhm.
draft,
Mhm.
I feel like you guys would have been like, this fucking asshole sucks. But sorry, I hope we don't get like kicked off Spotify um, for my language.
No.
But
No. No.
No. Oh my god,
the
no.
So let's say you gave us some of your like favorite books. Do you have like Because like what I'm hearing from you is obviously like memoir, comedy, and mysteries, which your love for comedy and thrillers, I really feel like came together for a summer most camp.
A murder
Like,
most camp.
Mm.
oh my God, I'm so sorry, Katie. Oh, she screamed at me. A murder most camp.
A
My
murder.
sister constantly gets names wrong.
I know. I do
I love
constantly get names wrong, and and she gets mad at me like she doesn't do it too, but I do it more than you, for sure.
it.
Yeah, you do.
I got my own name wrong at the beginning of this episode.
I was gonna say I get my character names messed up all the time. Like the draft I'm working on now, I there's probably like one character has like four separate names, and when I give it to my editor, she's gonna be like, "Who are these people, and why am I not understanding what's
Why
going
do they have
on?"
5 names? How do authors pick names for your characters? Like, do you just have a spreadsheet of, "Oh, I used this name before, love this name, this is my dog's name," or like,
Yeah.
how do you do that?
You know, it's kind of for me, I think some people like put a lot of thought into it and like are very intentional about like meaning behind names and stuff like that. I'm very much more like I go
Yeah.
by vibes. So when I'm like just starting out,
Nice.
I'll just pick names at random and be like, "Yeah, that sounds good," or whatever. And then a certain point in the book when I get to know the character more, either the name clicks and it's like, "Yeah, this is definitely like Mikey," or I'll think of a name and then I'll do like the replace all. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm like boring about that. But there are certain names where I'll be introduced to someone. Like when we were buying our house upstate, our realtor's name was Trista, and I was like obsessed.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so like the book I was
Ooh,
working on at the time, there was a Trista immediately inserted. And so that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know,
I love that.
and then,
That's
I should probably tell her. I just realized she has no idea.
Oh,
be like,
she's
"Hey, girl."
immortalized.
I
She's
Yeah.
know.
immortalized in in writing, and she doesn't know.
Right.
Do you have any like comfort reads that you go back to, like outside of the favorites that you sort of spoke about before? Like, are you a rereader?
I'm a
Ooh.
I have done it a few times. I've reread, so I know I already name dropped it, but Bitch is the New Black I've read a few times.
Yeah.
Um, there's this book which was in my I quoted it in the epigraph for Nearly Wed. This book is called Swish by Joel Durfner. So good. The subtitle is My Quest to Become the Gayest Person Ever. Um, and it's a memoir. It's so funny. And I must have read this 5 times when I was in my 20s alone, and then I don't think I've read it in a few years, but, another switching to the mystery of it all, a book that I've read
Hmm.
Ooh.
probably 3 times. Do you already recognize it? Dennis Lehane,
Oh, not yet.
Mystic River.
Oh,
Oh,
Mystic Rip. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
Terrific.
and I didn't discover Dennis Lehane until and meanwhile, of course, I saw the movie Mystic River and Shutter Island and
Hmm.
Yeah.
had no idea that they were based on books
So good.
until probably 5 years ago. So I was super late to the game with him, but, like, once I read it, I was like and it had been long enough since the movie that I'd, like, kind of forgotten, like, what the movie was about. Just, like, life-changing, like, he's so good. Um, like, I think what I love about him and, like, Gillian to bring her back in the mix is, like, they have these, like, really intense plots, and they have the twists
Yeah.
and the things that kind of readers of thriller want, but it's also paired with this language that's just, like, stops you every few sentences, and as a writer, makes me feel deeply inadequate, but also, like,
Oh
you
no.
know,
Oh my god,
appreciative
no.
that this exists, you know what I mean? Oh, but I can't not okay, another one that I've reread, How to Murder Your Life by Kat Marnell. Such a rereadable
Ooh.
book.
Don't
Oh,
have it.
I
It came out in, I was living in the city. It was probably 2017. I could literally open it and see. Got me 2017. Um, it's so funny. Like, but it's also a memoir about her severe addiction to amphetamines and, working
mm.
in New York City media during the fall of Condé Nast, where I
Oh,
Okay.
worked. That was my last job when I was in New York. And
Oh, man.
so she's so good. She's so funny. Like but it obviously touches on like a lot of dark subject matter, but her voice is like, imagine if like Cher from Clueless, who we love and I love after reading
mhm,
Camp.
mhm.
Like imagine
Yep.
if Cher
Yes.
was like a beauty editor at Lucky magazine in the early 2000s and became addicted to
Oh
Adderall
my
and
god.
cocaine and then lived to tell the tale. That is exactly how it reads. And
Okay.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
That is so fun.
perfect.
We need to one of my reading goals for 2026 was to read more memoirs, and I feel like I'm getting so many good recs, not only from
uh,
you, but from a bunch of other guests that came on, and I just need to get on the memoir train. I know
I
as soon as I
know.
start, I won't be able to stop, but,
yeah,
you know,
it
we have a million books to read at any given time, but I need to just go and read a memoir.
oh my god. I mean, yeah, I guess it's a genre unto itself, and it's another one if you're looking for um a really good gateway drug memoir. I Am Not Myself These Days
Ooh,
by
Okay.
Joel Kilmer Purcell. This was another one that I read for the first time in my 20s and so good. He was a drag queen named Aquadesiac. And so his whole thing
Okay.
was that he would have like a clear like bra with like these two fish bowls for boobs and then there would be like live goldfish, one in each boob. And it was
Oh,
like
what?
which which is where
that's
like
commitment.
the fish comes from on the title. But it's about
Oh
his
my god, I love that.
but it's about like his life in New York City in the 90s, going back to Love Story.
Mhm, that's right, baby.
Um and
Yeah.
Mhm.
he got into this like really insane relationship with this guy who was a BDSM escort who would like do like humiliation stuff with like very powerful wealthy men. And but like the
Yes,
boyfriend was
love
like a
that.
mess,
Mhm.
and it's like a tale of like drugs and craziness and like attempted murder, but like told so
A
funny.
attempted murder.
um,
Love that.
there was
Yeah.
I'm not it's not a spoiler because it's in the first chapter. The boyfriend comes into their bedroom with a knife and he's like, "I'm here to kill you." But he's like strung out on a million drugs. It's so good.
Oh,
I
no.
didn't do it justice with
Yeah.
that
Okay.
anecdote, but yeah, there's so many good memoirs out there, and
But
Oh my god, I love
it
it.
it makes me sad because I feel like it's not as big of a genre as it was, like, you know what I mean? Like 20 years ago
mm,
or
You know,
15 years ago.
it's so
yeah.
interesting. One of our last guests, Jen, she also said, like, one of her favorite genres is memoirs, and she had so many that I hadn't heard of, but clearly make an impact, and that's when Elise and I were like, we have got to get a memoir, but I want a juicy one, you know?
Oh,
I'm
good
excited
one.
for Lena Dunham's memoir, if only
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
because love Lena Dunham or hate Lena Dunham, girl can write. And I think that's coming out in soon. I want to say like
yeah.
April or something like that. I'm interested in that one.
Her first
Because
book.
ooh,
Oh,
Did you read her first
oh,
book?
oh, I didn't read her first book. See, look at me.
Oh, it
No.
is
look at you,
so
Elise.
good.
God damn it. Is
I
it so
when
good? Okay. All right. All
when
right. I'm
this
gonna do
came out, I was
Look.
obsessed. I think this was like before. I think it was like season 1 of Girls. But yeah, this
okay.
came out in 2014. So yeah, I was like, I haven't read it since, but from what I
Oh, yeah.
recall, it was like everything you would expect, like from season 1 of Girls, Lena. Um, but I didn't know she had a
Okay.
And
new one coming out, and I feel like current day Lena would probably say
Yeah.
that she doesn't love this because as we all evolve so much and
Yeah.
like publishing a memoir in your 20s is quite the, risky move,
It's a
but
move for
yeah,
sure.
you've got
for
time.
Yeah.
but for what it was
Yeah.
for at the time, I remember loving it. I don't even know if I would love it now, but like you said, she can write. I mean, Girls.
Yeah.
Season 1
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
2, actually the whole series, let's just be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might need to
Katy
do a
didn't
rewatch.
like girls. And I think I did like the first 3-ish seasons and then I fell off of it. But I mean, there are some episodes of girls that I still think about to this day that are just are like
Mm.
scenes from it. Like she's a excellent writer.
Oh my god.
And it's to be named Fame Sick is what the new one's called. Fame Sick is what the new one is
Oh.
called. And it's
Honest,
out.
I feel like Lena Dunham's lived quite a life since
She has
2014.
she
So
has lived a life.
So true.
I bet that's going to be good. I want to read it. I think I'm interested in reading it. When does it come out, Elise?
I'm trying. April 14th. April 14th. I'm so excited. Yeah, we will buddy read it. You can come back on the pod. You can talk about it. I
Oh
actually
my
want you to
god.
come back once Murder Most Camp is out because I want to like, talk about the book, but obviously we don't want to give anything
I know.
Yes.
away.
I was just going to say, I feel like maybe the beginning of May, we should do an episode on a Murder
I'm
Most Camp.
down.
And because we
Yeah.
can't, like, we've got our spoiler free section and we got spoilers and I've got things to say. And I'm dying to get more into
Yeah.
it.
Can we do a foursome with Dina?
Oh, yeah. We could do
Yeah.
foursome for sure.
Yeah, 4.
Oh
Yeah,
my
definitely
god.
we can do 4.
Oh,
I mean, assuming she like wants to
Oh my
talk
God.
about it.
Book it. We'll put it in the calendar.
She might be like, actually,
I'm certain that she does.
I
I'm sure
hated Murder Most Camp. No, I know. She told me she loved it.
No, because I saw her
Um,
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I saw her 2 weeks ago and we were talking about it and she yelled at me and I said, listen, it's not my fault. Elise has not given me the book. I need to get the book
I know.
in order to read it.
It's true. It's not like you could go to a store and get it at this point.
No.
I know. It wasn't like she could just download it on Kindle. You know what I
Right.
mean? She
No.
needed the marketing material. If it's
Right.
I needed this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with it.
This was so fun, by the way. I can't believe
All
how
right. We
fast
can
it went. Um,
I
I
know.
know.
These always go so fast.
It was truly a delight. I could literally talk to you guys all night. Okay, my socials. I am on Instagram at Nic DiDomizio Books, which if someone is only listening, they probably won't have any idea how to spell that. At Nic DiDomizio
We'll put it
Books.
in the show notes, don't worry.
Show notes. I was about to should I spell it out? That feels very
Show
like
notes.
customer service call. Where else do I
D as in David.
yeah. I guess Instagram is it. I mean, I have a TikTok, but I don't use it. I have a website. But yeah, A Murder Most Camp comes out April 28th. And where will I be? If anybody is in Chicago, March 27th, I'll be doing like a pre-release event at C2E2. If anybody's in Minneapolis the first week of April, well, I guess probably not because it's like a library thing. But if you work in the library industry, I will be in Minneapolis doing an event there. And then I will be doing several public events after. So I'll be doing one in Saratoga Springs, New York on April 28th, Houston, Texas on May 1st,
Ooh.
and Scottsdale, Arizona on May 2nd, and a few other dates that are TBD. But so plenty of opportunities
Cool.
for for anybody in those very specific locations at those very specific times to come get a signed copy.
Oh, yay.
Yay, so fun. Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
So
Thank you so much.
we can't wait. You'll be
Thank
back. We're going
you.
to chat
No.
about books over and over again. You've unfortunately got us for friends forever. That's how that worked. That's how
Friends
this
forever.
just worked. Friends forever. So
Bye.
bye.